Minecraft minigame servers have risen high above their competition since they began to grow in early 2013, with Hypixel being the one to lead them to glory as of recently, sometimes knocking others down in the process. But while many of these servers have been forgotten by the modern Minecraft community, one in particular has captivated members of the OG community, largely due to its influence on the early days of Minecraft multiplayer that many of us grew up watching or playing. That server is HiveMC, and in today's episode of Minecraft Uncovered, we explore the history of one of the original pioneers of Minecraft minigames, and why it will soon be shutting down. The story begins, as did many other minigame servers, at the beginning of 2013. Many of the Minecraft YouTubers we grew up with were just getting their start, with huge names like Stampy Longhead and Beijing Canadian uploading their first Minecraft videos within a few months of the new year. As a result, Minecraft was just about to hit its all-time peak of popularity, and new players were coming in every day. Server owners, which would have generally had a few years of experience by this point, were ready to pounce on the opportunity to create a network for not just their friends, but the entire Minecraft community. Among this group of server managers were the team working at MCSG, often considered the OG Minecraft Hunger Games server. The team was large and growing by the day, but were only concerned about 3 members in particular. The first was Chad the DJ, the founder of the server and one of the coveted accounts I talked about in my video about Pentacapes. The other 2 were Varide, the map maker behind many of the original Hunger Games maps we all know and love, and Clankstar, a former developer for the server. At the time, the team was having some internal struggles, specifically with Clankstar's satisfaction with the development progress of MCSG. However, he did have an idea for a new game mode on the server that would push MCSG to the masses, which he titled Trouble in Mineville, based off the popular Trouble in Terrorist Town minigame in Gary's mod. The only issue was that this new game wasn't welcomed with open arms. In fact, it was received pretty poorly by the MCSG team. Perhaps the mode didn't seem suitable for a Hunger Games server, or it would have taken too much time and effort to create, or maybe they just didn't think it would be a fun game. But despite the negative reception he got, Clankstar thought that Trouble in Mineville had a lot of potential, and for that matter, so did Varide. Shortly afterwards, the duo partnered together to create their own server for the game, with Varide creating the maps and promoting the server, and Clankstar doing the development work, later taking on the aid of Forayran, with the game finally being released on October 18th of 2012. At the same time, the server owner duo of Boxer and Jolly Ajax had partnered together to work on their own game mode, known as the Herobrine. Just by chance, Minecon 2012 was about to be held in Paris, and just by chance, Jolly Ajax and Clankstar met at the convention and began to chat together. Soon afterwards, the Bungee Cord plugin launched, allowing the ability to have multiple worlds in a single server, and both parties were very interested in the idea of combining their servers together into a huge network for minigames. And of course, that network was the Hive. The merge was announced on February 17th of 2013, and staff from both servers were soon merged into HiveMC. The forums, repurposed from the website for the Herobrine, were created on the 22nd of the same month, and 2 short days later, the server and store were released to thousands of eager players ready to join what would become their new favorite server. Unfortunately, the launch didn't go quite as smoothly as you might have expected. Of course, any new server will have its fair share of bugs to iron out, and HiveMC most definitely was no exception, but not every server can say that they already had drama with one of the largest servers of all time within just 3 days of their release. See, HiveMC didn't just open with Trouble in Mineville and the Herobrine, they also added survival games to their growing roster of minigames. The vast majority of survival game servers would only consider this to be a bit of competition, not that big of a deal, but MCSG took it quite personally. Varide, having created the original MCSG maps, wanted to buy the server from Chad the DJ. Chad refused, and Jolly Ajax said they'd be competing. At the time, MCSG wasn't doing too well either, so Jolly said that he didn't think Chad knew what he was doing, and Chad didn't seem to take that with stride. When MCSG v2 came out, just 4 days before the release of HiveMC, the server was revived and running better than ever, but interestingly, any mentions of the word Hive were censored throughout the entire server. HiveMC made a joke about it on their Twitter, and MCSG went on a rampage, banning Team Varide members from the TeamSpeak, removing their ranks, deleting Clankstar's forum account, and banning his IP from the server. HiveMC's community continued to meme on Chad because of all of this, but by the time HiveMC's survival games had released, the drama was mostly over, and HiveMC was the clear winner. The general consensus is that Hive was mostly in the right, and as a result, many MCSG players ended up migrating between servers, causing some of the first major server drama that Minecraft had ever seen. After the MCSG ordeal was over, it was mostly smooth sailing for HiveMC, and they began working on developing the server even more. A new hub was added on April 12th, mod applications opened at the end of the month, and they launched a YouTube channel in the middle of May, though it wouldn't see any use for a while. However, July is when HiveMC started their first wave of new minigames, setting a trend that would continue on through the years. This wave would bring in the all-new arcade mode, releasing with hide and seek and planning to add 3 more games over the coming weeks. One in the Chamber was added on July 12th, and Spleg was added the night after. Paintball was planned to come out by the end of the week, but by July 25th, there was still no news on its release. They announced that they were planning on releasing it just over a week after that because they had been busy with adding new servers and maps, but by the end of the summer, there was still nothing about Paintball, leaving Arcade with just 3 out of the 4 modes promised. Mod applications were opened on August 29th and November 20th, and the forum got an update in the middle of October. But outside of better server stability and new maps, not much happened until December. Once again, HiveMC released another wave of games, albeit smaller this time around. December 6th saw the release of Cranked, the successor to the unreleased Paintball, which consisted of a fast-paced first-person shooter game mode where you had 30 seconds with superpowers to continue your kill streak or explode and die trying. Just over 2 weeks later, Cowboys and Indians was added to the server, a cross between the classic Playground game and Capture the Flag. With the server having reached over 2 million unique players by the end of the year, HiveMC had established their territory in the land of Minecraft minigames. They were here to stay. 2014 was a much slower year for the server, without much of the drama or testing that was needed in 2013. They had all the staff they needed and closed applications on February 6th, then spent the majority of their time working on a new game mode known as Block Party. The gameplay itself wasn't anything revolutionary, it was quite similar to the already popular Color Shuffle game, but they added a unique twist by hiring music artists to create custom songs that the player could select to play in the background of their game. It was a good idea, but it seems that players got bored of it quickly, and the game mode quickly fell behind in favor of the other more diverse games on the network. It didn't end up hurting the server though, and they were able to continue development, mainly on the cosmetic part of HiveMC both inside and outside of Minecraft. The friend system was previewed on May 2nd and added on the 29th. Cosmetics were added to the lobbies on May 15th, and the first official HiveMC merch drop would be on July 10th of 2014. Unfortunately, just a week later, disaster struck. Sort of. On July 17th, the infamous EULA struck again, this time with the HiveMC server, forcing them to relinquish certain parts of their store or face being potentially blacklisted worldwide. Luckily for HiveMC, they had never really been paid to win, so just a few small changes later, the server was safe and they were still making more than enough not only to keep the server running, but constantly improving. The new Heroes mode for survival games would be added on October 11th, causing moderator applications to open again about 2 weeks later. And December 22nd would see the release of another classic HiveMC game mode that I'm sure many of you know. That game mode was Deathrun, and its release on HiveMC would be the first time it had ever been properly ported to a server, as well as likely the most advanced and feature-rich version of the game mode that had been created up to that point, with many of the single-player maps being very basic without any special abilities for either side, and often a rather plain map as well. HiveMC sought to remedy this, and the game mode was received very well, instantly becoming one of the most popular on the network with over 100,000 players in just 3 days. With that, we end off the year with a milestone of 5 million unique players and a public API to be used by the Hive community for their own special creations, but nobody could have expected the craziness of the year to come. Entering 2015, Hive was already in a very good place. HiveMC had seen over 5 million players log on to their network. That's just under 30% of the entire Minecraft Java population at the time, nothing to scoff at. Under ordinary circumstances, the server's growth would have to start slowing down right about then. After all, it couldn't keep growing forever, especially considering how many Minecraft players haven't even touched multiplayer. But 2015 would be the biggest year in HiveMC's history. It started off strong with a brand new hub added in January, the first in almost 2 years, bringing a great place for players to chill and talk in between games. February, though, was where HiveMC began to skyrocket. See, on February 1st, HiveMC added the Laboratory, sort of an updated version of the arcade that was released back in the middle of 2013 and had since been discontinued. The only difference was, the Laboratory didn't release with 3 games. It didn't release with 4 like the arcade was originally intended to have either. No, the HiveMC Laboratory released with 13 brand new minigames, as well as bringing back Spleg from the first arcade. Naturally, tripling the amount of games on your network tends to bring quite a bit of attention, so moderator applications would reopen in late March so Hive could manage the huge boost in activity. But laboratory games weren't the only thing helping the Hive to grow. In fact, it likely wasn't even the main thing growing the Hive at the time. No, that title went to a game that had already been out for several months by then. Deathrun. While the game hadn't actually changed very much since its release, it was beginning to catch on with YouTubers, many of which popularized the single-player version of the game in the first place. And this was back in 2015 when Minecraft YouTube videos were close to their peak popularity. So when HiveMC Deathrun was showcased in videos by huge names like DanTDM and SkyDoesMinecraft, garnering tens of millions of views, the server was bound to get a huge boost in activity, and that it did. Unfortunately, I can't find more statistics on Deathrun's activity to know exactly how much it helped, but I'd imagine a pretty big portion of HiveMC's new players in early to mid 2015 were there for Deathrun. Around the same time that this huge spike in activity was happening, HiveMC's team released the new Draw It minigame, which was a more blockified version of games like Pictionary and Scribble.io. They would also go on to release a Lucky Block Skywars minigame just 2 months later, tons of brand new hubs in October, and even returning the arcade to the server, bringing back Cranked and adding Electric Floor, Slapperoo, and Music Masters in the process. By the end of 2015, the server had reached 7 million unique players, bringing their player base up to about 1/3 of all Minecraft players ever, tied with Hypixel for the world record of largest server of all time. From then on, HiveMC had gotten all of its servers, cosmetics, and so on sorted out, meaning the only thing left to do was add new games, and that they did. Gravity was added to the arcade on February 7th of 2016, and Restaurant Rush was added 3 weeks later. The brand new Sky Giants minigame would be released on June 12th, and the first duel mode on the server, Spleg Duels, were added in the middle of August, shortly after the Hive reached 8 million unique players. Sploop, aka Minecraft Splatoon, was added to the arcade along with a brand new hub on January 3rd of 2017, and Battery Dash would be added in late February. The brand new Murder in Mineville minigame was added in the middle of March, and the forums would receive a redesign later that same month for the first time in over 4 years. Bed Wars would be added in May, just after the server reached 9 million unique players, but after that, the server went quiet for a bit. There was nothing new added from late May all the way to late November of 2017, but when the next announcement came, it was big. Very big. On November 19th of 2017, HiveMC announced their official partnership with Minecraft, and began development of the HiveMC server for Bedrock Edition. However, it would be a while before that was released, so in the meantime they added a mysterious Christmas minigame based on saving Santa from the Grinch, though it was removed after just a few days. And they would continue improving on the games the server already had, reaching a huge milestone of 10 million unique players in the process. On October 16th of 2018, HiveMC Bedrock Edition officially launched with Hide and Seek, Deathrun, Trouble in Mineville, and Dragon Wars, quickly rising to the top and eventually becoming the largest Minecraft Bedrock server of all time. From then on, it was all about Bedrock, with Treasure Wars, Murder Mystery, Survival Games, Pirate's Fortune, and Just Build all being added from late 2018 to early 2020, as well as a temporary Halloween game called Ghost Invasion on October 28th of 2018. Java wasn't completely left out though, and they got Snow Wars and Christmas Quest, both limited time holiday games, as well as a shuffle mode for the arcade and 2 new arcade games which were Instagib and Death Drop. Unfortunately, while Java was doing fairly well, the success of Bedrock dwarfed anything Java had achieved at the moment, and as a result, on February 21st of this year, HiveMC announced that they would be rewriting the code for the server, as well as removing Cowboys and Indians, Sky Giants, Murder and Mineville, and the Herobrine, marking the end of the 7-year reign of the game that made HiveMC what it is today. Now, I wish this was where the story ended, and as of just a few days ago, it was. In fact, I was just about ready to release HiveMC The Rise of an Empire until Monday, when HiveMC suddenly announced that the Java server would be permanently shutting down. But why? HiveMC is still extremely popular on Java Edition, and as I write this, it's the 4th largest server by player count with over 3,000 players logged on. Unfortunately, looks can be deceiving. While outwardly the server looks to be booming, costs for keeping it alive were very high, over 10 times as much as on the Bedrock Edition server. Not only that, but HiveMC Java was still stuck having to support 1.8, while HiveMC Bedrock would have the vast majority of players on the newest update in just days. As a result, HiveMC's profit began to dwindle all the way back in 2017, and it's been on life support for several years now, with the only thing keeping it alive being the profit from Bedrock and the personal savings of staff members. Now it's become too much to keep alive, and on January 11th, 2021 at 1:12 PM EST, HiveMC staff announced that the server will be closing its doors on April 15th, never to open again. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I said I would make one about HiveMC back on my history of PvP, and I kept my word. Also, I just wanted to make note of the fact that while I've been writing this script, I've just hit 10,000 subscribers, which is incredible. Over 5 years ago now, I set this goal, and I finally reached it, but it doesn't seem like I'll be stopping anytime soon. I might have some sort of special video for 10K, but I think I'll just try to keep making as many quality videos as I can. I honestly haven't decided yet, but I just wanted to say thank you. Anyways, that's it, so have a good one, guys. Peace.